Breaking news, Coco Gauff 2025, Triumph and Turmoil Unveiled. The journey of glory, controversy, and struggles. In a sport where every swing of the racket can rewrite a legacy, Coco Gauff's 2025 season emerged as one of the most unforgettable narratives in modern tennis. A whirlwind of triumph, turmoil, controversy, and deep personal evolution. It was a year that tested her spirit, sharpened her identity, and proved why she is more than a champion. She is a phenomenon. Brace yourself. This is the full creative journey of Coco's most explosive, emotional, and defining season. The year begins with lightning. The first sunrise of 2025 found Coco Gauff training under a sky streaked with orange, her breath fogging in the early morning air. Her team watched her with a mixture of awe and anticipation. She wasn't just striking tennis balls. She was striking statements. The world knew what she was capable of. But Coco knew what she had not yet unlocked. She arrived at the Australian Open with the weight of a champion and the fire of a revolutionary. More powerful, sharper, faster. In her early matches, she played tennis that felt supernatural, lung-bursting rallies, impossible defense, and the kind of shot-making that made fans gasp in unison. Commentators declared, "This is a new Coco Gauff." And they were right. For a brief moment, everything seemed perfect, but perfection never lasts in sports. And hers was about to be tested. The storm of controversy hits. The season's first major controversy erupted during a tense quarterfinal match in Dubai. A late-match argument with an umpire. Over a line call so dubious it made slow-motion replays go viral. Unleashed a media firestorm. Clips circulated everywhere. Coco pointing to the line. Coco shaking her head. Coco refusing to be dismissed. Within hours, headlines screamed, "Coco Gauff too emotional? Bad attitude or champion's fire? Is pressure getting to the young star?" Commentators dissected her tone. Pundits debated her personality. Fans defended her relentlessly. The world didn't see the truth behind the moment. Coco wasn't angry. She was exhausted, carrying expectations, carrying the weight of a sport, carrying the burden of being a role model every second of every day. But controversy, as it often does, only fueled her. A phoenix in Miami. Miami would become her sanctuary. Under the blistering Florida sun, Coco transformed criticism into fuel. The energy of her home crowd, screaming her name from the very first rally, lifted her spirit like wings. Her movement turned liquid. Her forehand exploded like thunder. Her defense looked superhuman. In the semifinal, she played like a storm unleashed. 25 winners, a clutch tiebreak, and the roar of a crowd witnessing a resurrection. In the final, she dominated from the first ball to the last. When she lifted the Miami Open trophy, she didn't scream. She didn't cry. She simply closed her eyes. A silent victory. A quiet, "I'm still here." It was a calm before the next emotional battle. The private pain no one saw. Success glitters. But what glitters often hides shadows. Behind the scenes, Coco struggled with intense emotional fatigue, traveling nonstop, coping with expectations, seeing her name twisted into narratives she never consented to. Privately, she told her team she felt stretched thin. Her mother noticed her sleeping less. Her coaches noticed her practicing longer. Her friends noticed her texts growing shorter. But Coco tried to push through it all. Champions don't rest, right? Wrong. And the cost was coming. Wimbledon. The collapse heard around the world. Wimbledon 2025 will forever be remembered as the moment the world stopped and stared. Coco, the fan favorite. Coco, the American diamond. Coco, the expected finalist. Lost in the second round. The stadium gasped. Social media erupted. Critics sharpened their knives. What happened to Coco? Is the hype dying? Slump or breakdown? Coco tried to smile in the press conference, but her voice cracked on the final question. When asked about the loss, she whispered, "I'm tired, but I'll be okay." And then she walked off. It was the first time the world realized Coco wasn't untouchable. She was human. The quiet rebuild after Wimbledon. Coco disappeared from the spotlight, not in disgrace, but in determination. She went back to the fundamentals. Footwork, breathing, confidence, joy, late-night training sessions, early morning visualization, long talks with her team about pressure, identity, and purpose. She began to rediscover not the player she had been, but the player she wanted to be. Her coach later revealed, it was like watching Coco reborn. The summer of Super Coco. Then came the North American hard court season, and Coco ignited. Toronto, semifinal Cincinnati, final U.S. Open, a heroic run. Every match felt like watching a warrior heal in real time. Her movement turned graceful again. Her energy became magnetic. Her spirit reignited into something fierce. Fearless, unstoppable. The U.S. Open crowd became her army, chanting her name, standing for every match point, roaring after every impossible get. Even when she didn't win the tournament, she won the moment. She walked off Arthur Ashe Stadium that night to a standing ovation so loud the cameras shook. She smiled, exhausted, emotional but triumphant. Not every victory needs a trophy. Some victories belong to the soul. Owning her story. As the season neared its end, Coco opened up publicly for the first time about everything she had endured. The pressure, the expectations, the online scrutiny, the emotional exhaustion, the mental battles, the fear of disappointing millions. But she also revealed how those challenges shaped her into someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient. In a widely viewed interview, she said, "This year didn't break me. It taught me who I am." Fans embraced those words like gospel. Children wore shirts saying, "Play like Coco." Commentators called it the defining quote of her career, the triumph beyond trophies. By the end of 2025, Coco had won multiple titles, reached multiple finals, battled through setbacks, survived controversy, conquered self-doubt, redefined her identity, inspired millions. But the most powerful achievement was something quieter. She learned to be Coco Gauff, not the player the world demanded, but the player she chose to be. She wasn't perfect. She wasn't invincible. She wasn't emotionless. She was human, brilliant, fiery, vulnerable, courageous, and that humanity became her superpower. Glowing Star Final Chapter, a legacy in motion. As the final tournament of the year concluded, Coco stood before a crowd of thousands and delivered one last message. "I didn't want a perfect season. I wanted a real one. And this, every high, every low, this was real." With those words, she closed the book on a season that revealed more about her spirit than any trophy could. Her journey of triumph and turmoil became a story that transcended tennis. It became a story about resilience, courage, vulnerability, growth, and the unstoppable force of a young woman refusing to break. Coco Gauff's 2025 season wasn't just legendary. It was human, and that's what made it unforgettable. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share. Till next time.